Welcome wonderful people to my channel. It's Tariella, we do it differently. So today we're going to talk about what is your identity. So if you're new here, my name is Tariella, I'm 19, I do self-development videos as well as self-care lifestyle videos. So if you're interested, hit the plus for more, subscribe to the channel, and let's get on to the video. So the first thing we're going to start off is, what is identity? How do you define identity? So identity, according to Google, it means the fact of being who or what a person or thing is. Okay, there's another one. The characteristics determining who or what a person or thing is. So that's Google's idea. But my understanding of identity is quite complex, and I feel like you guys would agree with me. So guys, if you look at an individual, I think when you're talking about the identity of somebody or an individual, you can tell that that individual is complex, that individual is multi-dimensional. They have culture, they have religion, they have race, they have family. All these things make part of your identity. And I feel like with identity, all of these things can coexist together. However, there will be levels to your identity when one takes more priority over another. For example, when it comes to religion, I believe personally that your religion is more significant compared to your culture when it comes to your identity. Another thing you need to realize is that with your identity, it changes over time. So there's some things that are non-changeable, so things that you cannot change over time. For example, your ethnicity, your family, but you can change stuff like, oh, your personality traits, your characteristics, whether you used to be shy and quiet, now you're a louder person, you talk a lot more, you're talkative, you're engaging a lot more. So some of us are quite unaware of who we are. We're not really sure who we are. We're not sure what our identity is. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to list a few things that is going to be signs to tell that you're not confident in your identity or you don't know your identity. Number one is seeking validation. So you're constantly seeking validation from human beings, people, groups of people, how people perceive you. You're basing your identity from what comes from other people. You might not be even taking in consideration the type of person you're receiving that validation from. So your source matters a lot when it comes to your identity. And when I say seeking validation, it doesn't mean that in every form or every time you seek validation about who you are, it's wrong. It becomes problematic when you're constantly seeking validation from groups of people that you shouldn't necessarily be taking advice from or caring that much about their opinion from. Do you get? Another thing is when you take action that compromises your identity. So let's say you claim to be Christian. We've all been there. So we've claimed to be Christian. However, we find ourselves in situations where we act ungodly or where we act unholy or we sin continuously. This is when you're compromising your identity. Sometimes in some cultures, there might be a certain event that's been held. For example, I know in UK there's a culture of Halloween. And as a Christian, in my belief, from my point of view, as a Christian shouldn't be in an environment where they're celebrating Halloween. But that's something I could have done or could be doing, celebrating Halloween to compromise my faith just because it's in the culture if I was British, where I am British. Also, compromising your identity because of emotions. So we understand that emotions are everywhere. You're always going to feel a certain type of way about who you are. Right? Like when you take major steps to change your identity or alter your identity just based off emotions. Because I'm not trying to invalidate anyone's emotion, but you need to be careful when you're taking steps that are non-reversible, for example, or steps that can be detrimental to your future self if you change your mind. From a Christian standpoint, I believe everyone has an identity from one source. So when I say source, I mean the true valid source. A true valid source is something you can refer to tell you, this is who I am, therefore this is my characteristics, and this is how I will behave. This is my personality. So when I say personality, obviously some people are funny, some people are more serious. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about your characteristics, your integrity. A source that is valid is something that is always going to be true, and where you're receiving that source is incorruptible. From a Christian point of view, your source is God. So what God says you are is who you are. It only becomes a problem when you decide that I'm not this, I'm something else. When you go against the source, you go against your identity, and that's how people find themselves in a situation where they're compromising their identity or they're not sure about their identity. All I can say is get your source from God about who you are. And where can you get your source? From the Bible. The Bible tells you who you are, and I'm going to make a separate video that will be posted after this, giving you affirmations from the Bible, so Bible verses that will tell you who you are. If you think about your identity like this, Tesla's a company that makes cars. Tesla made a car. The person that wants to buy this car needs to know how to drive this car, needs to know what this means, what this button means. How is the person who wants to drive and buy this car going to know what this means and XYZ means when they don't go to the source? So Tesla, the maker of the car. You need to go to your maker to know who you are, and also to know your purpose. Everyone has different types of purpose. I believe your purpose comes from God. When you base your life on a source, and your source, for some people, if you're not religious, your source could be your family members. But remember, your family members, their thoughts and opinions about you can change. So your identity will therefore change with their thoughts and opinions. But God's thoughts about your life is the same from yesterday, today, and forever. He is the same. So it's your choice who you decide your source is. And I also believe you guys should not base your life on how you feel, your thoughts and your emotions about your identity. Because when you do that, you're compromising what God has said you are. Number one, at times, because sometimes our emotions and our thoughts, they're valid. And sometimes we just have to deal with it spiritually. But sometimes your thoughts and emotions make up your personality, but not necessarily your whole identity. Do you get? And sometimes our emotions are based off things that happened in the past, for example, trauma, people's opinions, etc., etc. Stuff that isn't necessarily grounded with the truth. I hope this triggered some of you in a positive way, because obviously everything I post here, I'm trying to help you. I'm not trying to attack you. And I too am learning from what I'm posting. So if you're interested in more content like this, hit the subscribe button and like and comment for more. Tell me what you want to see and I'll be able to post it for you, okay? I hope you guys have a blessed day. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, see you guys later.